I don't know about you, but the world feels really heavy and uncertain lately. As a society, we have a tendency to numb ourselves or avoid our feelings. With technology and social media, there are just so many options to choose from. Once, I had a client tell me that she really didn't want to coach with me because that would open the floodgates. And I asked her what she meant, and she said, then I would have to feel things, and I don't want that. How many of you are like my client? You don't want to feel things, so you avoid it, run away, and try really hard to never talk or think about it. I don't blame you. It's increasingly more difficult to focus, let alone focus on things we don't want to feel. Life is constantly screaming at us to just get over it. Have you ever been asked to do that after something major happened in your life? I know I have. I mean, this is what women go through every day when we are asked to return to work in 12 weeks after birthing a human, or after we experience a miscarriage and we don't get any time off. Hey, ladies. Welcome back to episode 28 of Not Just Moms, the podcast where we discuss who we are beyond mom and carve out some time to reflect on ourselves, our purpose, and cultivating our dream lives. I'm your host, Stephanie, your life and mindset coach, and fellow mom navigating this journey right alongside you. If you caught the last episode, I talked about how we need to rest more and take care of ourselves. Well, this episode takes that a step further because before we can truly rest, we have to deal with the feelings we're trying to escape. You know, I once posted a short showing happy moments and something along the lines of, if you wonder if it'll get better, it does. Keep going. Because in that moment, I was just feeling so grateful for where I was. It wasn't too long ago that the days felt so heavy and impossible. But it's kind of funny, whenever I share these uplifting messages, I always get the most pushback. One person commented, as if you're going through a hard time, stop pretending. And that really stung at first. But then I realized, what is this person going through that they felt the need to get that upset and even comment on my post? And that's when I realized there are so many of us suffering silently. We are all going through something. So I can see how it might be triggering to some people to see me at a phase of life that is so different than where they are. Now, while I can't answer the universal question of why do bad things happen to good people, I did have an aha moment for myself. I just realized that without the bad, I wouldn't appreciate the good as much as I do now. And without feeling the hopelessness and despair, I wouldn't have ever known what true hope felt like. Or without the immense sadness, I would have never experienced true joy at its fullest. Do you ever feel that too? Remember my client who didn't want to feel her feelings? Well, when you avoid all the feelings, you're also avoiding all the good ones too. If you watch some of my previous videos, I mentioned that when I was younger, I used to whine a lot. A lot. I think my natural tone of talking was just whining. And looking back at so many daily frustrations that seem so silly now. You know, the traffic, a long line at the store, a minor disagreement. But it didn't feel small back then. However, I take a much different approach nowadays. Because I realized that I could whine back then because I really had no concept of how hard or difficult life could actually be. I didn't understand how simple is great, how boring is awesome, and how quiet is safe. You know that quote, you don't know what you've got until it's gone? It's a similar experience here. When you experience these life-changing moments, you don't realize how good you had it until you experience something vastly different. For example, fresh out of college, I hated my job and would cry about it all the time. Then in my late 20s, I was dealing with infertility and would have given anything to just be crying about my lame job. Then in my 30s, life threw me another curveball, shattering the peace and safety that I had known. When you experience these moments, you lose some innocence. For example, after experiencing the first miscarriage, I could never fully enjoy a pregnancy because I was constantly worrying and fearful of miscarrying. And that is something I took for granted with my first pregnancy. It's all the little things you don't even notice is a privilege until you no longer have it anymore. Or just like how people do these big announcements or baby showers, I didn't ever want to do that because what if I lost the baby? And when I did miscarry, I never told anyone, not even my mom. I didn't want anyone to worry. So my husband and I suffered in silence. We didn't share how sad we felt or how unfair it felt when everyone was getting pregnant left and right. And back then, my journey with secondary infertility and miscarriage felt like it would never end. I mean, not only was it difficult to conceive, it was hard to keep the pregnancy, and 3 miscarriages just felt so cruel. I mean, it just destroyed me. I felt like such a failure. Here I am, type A perfectionist, and I couldn't keep a pregnancy. I felt like it was my fault. I felt so much shame. I mean, here I was doing my best, and it wasn't good enough, right? I was cutting sugar, alcohol, eating so clean, taking supplements, exercising, trying to make my body the perfect space to carry a baby, and yet it couldn't. And so it was so exhausting and overwhelming, and a feeling of deep hopelessness set in. I felt like it would never happen. And back then, I used to always just sit there and wonder, why me? I used to wonder if I would ever feel happy and light again. You might think I'm exaggerating, but that's how heavy these moments felt like before. And I just remember we were driving to dinner to meet friends, and I just started crying out of nowhere. And I wondered, how could I ever enjoy this dinner when my world feels so dark? It just felt like such a black hole inside my head and my heart. But it's weird because I'm still functioning on the outside because I had to. You know what I mean? So today's episode isn't to throw myself a pity party, but it's actually just to reflect on how far I've come. I'm here years later as a testament that life does go on. And time passes, and slowly you will heal if you allow yourself the space to. And somehow you will smile and laugh again and feel joy. I live every day with such gratitude because I know that just a few years ago, it was such a different story. And spoiler alert, I went on to have 3 beautiful babies. I don't know if you can hear them screaming, who I am eternally grateful for. So I just wanted to give you 3 helpful tips for getting through the hard times, the life-changing moments. And these are just the things that I wish I had done a little differently. So number 1 is don't resist. The more you resist, the more it persists. I used to do it for the longest time. Avoid my feelings, ignore it, not deal with it, overwork, drink, Netflix, numb myself to the pain. But when we avoid and numb ourselves, we're not actually healing. It's just temporary. We're just delaying the inevitable. And often the pain comes back stronger later. You can only push down your pain so much. And the image that pops up in my head right now is a Jack-in-a-Box. Remember that toy? For those of you that don't know, it's like you turn the handle and then all of a sudden this Jack-in-a-Box pops up and scares you. I had so much anxiety turning that handle, waiting for it to pop up. And it's like that with our pain. At some point, it'll just pop up and scare the shit out of you. So let's not do that. Number 2, be gentle with yourself. Show yourself some kindness. Learn from my mistakes. I mean, I was the worst at this. Seriously, I used to beat myself up all the time and think of all the ways it could have been different or prevented, but that only inflicts more pain when you're already hurting. It just adds another level of pain, you know? So it's about replacing that critical inner voice with a caring, friendly voice that says, you're doing the best you can with what you have right now. You have to be your own friend, not your enemy. Or what I tell myself now when I'm struggling is, it's okay. It's normal to feel this way. And it makes me feel like I'm not alone. Other people have walked this path before and have gone on to have amazing and vibrant lives. Number 3, don't rush the process. Do not force yourself to show up if you don't want to. We all process things differently, and there's this immense pressure to just get over it. But you know what? You don't have to if you don't want to. So I have sat through birthday dinners while experiencing my miscarriage in real time, just because I felt so embarrassed or ashamed to cancel and give the reason. And so I forced myself to go. And you know what? I wish I did not do that. I mean, clearly it was so miserable and painful for me. I wish I had just respected my needs and gave myself space to grieve in peace. We will all process in our own time. So do not force yourself to show up if you don't want to. Now, I won't say I'm grateful for the actual life-shattering events. I'm not there yet. But I will say that without them, I wouldn't be able to live in this immense gratitude that I feel every day for my husband, for my kids, for our family, and our health. I wanted to share my story as a testament of resilience and finding hope in what feels like the darkest of times. And if you're going through a hard time, I hope this episode gives you a glimmer of hope. You know, I know it might not feel like it, but this too shall pass. So be kind to yourself and show yourself lots of love. So tell me, what's one step that you can do today to be more gentle with yourself? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you ever want support through your journey, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to help support you in any way that I can. And as always, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys next week.